morning, everyone. The intrepid morning crew on this special day when we have two services. I'm Nico Turini, and I'm a member of the congregation, former board member. You might have seen me around here and there. We are a beloved community of people who believe that everyone is worthy of respect, science is real, the democratic process is a sacred thing, that we are all part of an interconnected web, and that the light and energy we share and put out makes a difference in the world. We are a people of purpose, and if what you hear today resonates with you, we hope that you'll consider becoming part of this way cool family of seekers and keepers of this long dream that is our church. A bit of housekeeping. Let's put our cell phones on silent. Make sure all the ringers and noisemakers are off. Masks are optional. Please feel free to wear one if you're more comfortable. And also, please join us for coffee hour afterwards through this door on my right in the parish house. Come in from the crisp morning air outside. Come in wearing the autumn sunlight on your face. Come carrying the turning of the seasons in your heart. Whatever and however the greatness of life is speaking to you now, you are welcome here in our circle of friends. As we kindle this, the flame of our chalice, we honor and remember our ancestors who have passed into the mystery. Their brightness lives on in our vision, their courage lives on in our commitments, and their love continues to bless the world through us. Our opening hymn is going to be number 360, Here We Have Gathered.
Gathered side by side,
Would you all please greet one another? You might have to reach out further. It's a light crowd today. Now we will have our reading of our covenant, which is found in your order of service. We come together as a religious community, upholding freedom of conscience, right relationship, and the inherent worth of all people. We value our diversity and pledge to care for one another in the spirit of compassion, to speak and listen to each other with respect, and to promote justice and kindness in the world. At this darkening time of the year, our thoughts turn to things past, to the life retreating, to those who are no longer with us. Images come to our minds of dear companions who once graced our lives, loved ones whom we miss, persons whose lives made an impact on our lives. All of those who were here contributing, caring, and are now gone. Our memories bring both joy and sadness. Let us not push these feelings away, for our recollections attest to the enduring importance of these friends, this love, our memories. May these brave and lovely spirits live again in our tender thoughts, and prove that death and distance are powerless to sever the bonds that connect truly loving hearts. At this time, if you'd like to come up to light a candle of healing or celebration, please feel free to come up.
My name is Jody, my name is Jody, and I really need your help this morning with some good thoughts for my daughter and my grandson. Pardon me. They need a safe trip without any problems coming home, and I really need your help this morning. I know you can help me. You're all a part of my friends, so I appreciate anything that you can do. Anytime today would mean a lot to me, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Pamela. I am also worried about my son and grandson, so I know you mentioned it sounded like people should send good thoughts or prayers, but we don't know the names. That would help. To send good thoughts or prayers. Benjamin and Kylie. Tylee. Benjamin and Tylee. Well, my son's name is Raphael and my grandson's name is Giovanni. They're not in any immediate danger. It sounded like you were worried about, something bad could happen now, but let's say my son, if you've known me a while, you might know, has had a little trouble finding his way and back and forth from jobs. His baby's 1 year old, separated from the mother, and we're all working on trying to get the baby with us more, but let's say the mother's not cooperative. So what happens is I go through periods of really missing the baby like despair. And that went on for 2 months. And now we have a tentative arrangement for Sundays. But all of you who, of course, everybody here has either known a child, had a child, a nephew or whatever. So, yeah, that's my, now on the hopeful side, he just went back to a new job, and the baby's developing beautifully. He just has a somewhat of a recurring cough now, and the mother's always had really bad asthma, so we don't know, but we can say he's basically a happy and healthy child. It's just not only a lot of bad stuff is out there now more than when we were born. Sorry, I was born in '53. We weren't really worried about people with guns killing us and things like that. And so, the other day we saw on TV in an Arkansas voting place, the people had the guns out. The voters called the police and they said, that's okay, they can have their guns out because this is an open carry state, but they just didn't come into the voting place, they just surrounded it. And if you've ever, especially in our country, plenty of people have died for voting and stuff. So anyway, there's a lot of very creepy things. And then odd things. For me, I love nature so much. Today there was a coyote so big that it looked like a wolf in our yard looking right at the cat. And so there's also, if you have a baby or an animal, because there's so much, we lost so much of our natural habitat. Where I live in Dartmouth, a lot of the woods have been cut down and the animals are all coming out now. They don't know where to go. But when I saw the cat looking at this wolf-like creature, that was pretty scary. So we've got, mostly in our country, it's crazy people. But, once in a while it also might be an animal. But anyway, so there's always the good and bad, and then we feel very raised up by the people we love, and that's a big help. Anyway, I did want to also make an announcement. I can do that now? Okay. think this announcement was supposed to go out to the whole church mail, and I don't think it did yet. But the Coalition for Social Justice is still looking for people. There's not much time left now till the elections, of course. And I didn't bring the number with me, but I'm going to send it out today. Could you hear me all the way in the back? Okay. I'm going to send that out today to the whole congregation. I don't know if you see your email very often, or maybe new people aren't even on the email for the whole congregation. Are you on the email? And sorry, I forgot your name. Yeah. Well, both of you are on the newer side, or you are on the newer side. I was wondering if you ever got an email.
Yeah.
Anyway, so hopefully everybody, if they want to, can tell Sarah, or maybe can tell you, and you can tell Sarah if you want to be on the group email. But my emails, my last one, I think was somewhat to do with the 4 questions on the ballot. I was talking about that today. But also so the Coalition for Social Justice is looking for volunteers. You can ask me after the service, or I can send everybody the phone number. And a lot of it's very easy stuff. I couldn't go because I was sick, and a lot of it I couldn't do outside. You can make actually those robot phone calls from your house. I hated them because my computer wouldn't do them, but now they have a really easy one. And I'm calling for Paul Hero, or I'm calling for the question number 1, but now I have to start calling for question number 4 also. Or you've probably seen people at the corner of the Buttonwood Park, 140 with, what is the name, Brownell and Route 6. Every week there's been people holding signs for Paul Hero running for sheriff, and everybody here probably knows, but it's really important to get the sheriff out because he's connected to the, white supremacist groups. The kind of cruelty in the jail causes all kinds of suicides, and recently a person died because they were there 4 years pre-trial and they kept refusing medical care. What's weird is there's 83% of those people are pre-trial, so they may or may not be guilty, but they're being subjected to all kinds of abuse in the Ash Street jail. Anyway, the list of things that Tom Hodgson has done is very long, and most of you know probably he's quite a criminal himself to be a sheriff. But that's why in the election to vote for Paul Hero, that's his candidate against him. But anyway, so for the 4 ballot questions, the first one I sent out, I said all yes. That was the original recommendation of the Coalition for Social Justice, but now 3 turned out to be a big question. Anyway, I'll just go through them. Vote yes on 1, the Fair Share Amendment, which you've probably heard all about now. They're calling it the millionaire's tax. A lot of millionaires will not pay it. I'm just going to read a really brief description because there's been so much misinformation. For Fair Share Amendment, question 1, those people in Mass who earn more than $1 million a year will continue to pay the flat state tax of 5% on their first million.
Could we do this after?
This is too long. Okay, then I'm going to say it really quick. Never mind. Yes on 1, which is fair share. Yes on 2, which is much better for the people who have dental insurance. Number 3, no, which is more liquor license. And number 4, very urgent, is the driver's license for undocumented workers. If you vote yes on that, you are voting to continue the law that already passed. Sorry, that was very long.
It's okay, Pam. I lit a candle for you, for your family, yes. And thank you very much for your passionate work towards the elections. Is there anybody else who would like to come up and say something? I'm going to be lighting a candle for my mother, Lilia. She has been admitted to the hospital last night. She's been having some health troubles. And with her Alzheimer's, it's frustrating to her and confusing, and she's angry, and I don't blame her. So I'm hoping that she has some relief from that soon.
Hi, first time doing this. I would like some thoughts and prayers for my parents. Can you hear me? Oh, too loud.
No, louder is better.
Oh, okay. All right. So my mother and father both have COVID right now. They are unvaccinated. They are taking that the drug that's for parasites. So yes. So prayers that they are okay and get through this period. So yes, thank you.
And as our custom, I've lit a candle for all those who are still seeking a place to share their thoughts, and also for all those thoughts that weren't spoken aloud today. Spirit of life, whom we know best in our own loving and being loved, hold us as we remember those we have loved and those who have loved us. May our gratitude sparkle in our lives. May our tears lubricate our souls. Help us to know that we are not alone in our grieving, and help us also to come to that peaceful place in which we can take time to reflect on what we've learned from those who have gone before us into our own lives. Remind us that we too are mortal, and that the only enduring legacy we leave is the love that shines through our lives. Amen, and so may it be. If you would open your hymn books to number 721, responsive reading. It's also printed in your order of service if you'd prefer. I'll read the regular type, and you can read either the italics or the bold type. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us.
It is right to remember the names of those who have perished
We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into the dust and have not disappeared. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts. And if you would so choose, you could call aloud the name of somebody who you'd like to remember. At this time, we have come to the portion of our service for the offertory. Please be as generous as you can be for the work of this church. I think this is the simplest church service I've ever put together. Usually I have a few friends along to join me, but today it's just Randy and me. So here we are again. It's the spookiest time of the year. The stores are filled with costumes and candy, while the cinema and TV are filled with monsters and horror movies. In several traditions, this is a time of year for remembering and honoring our dearly departed. Close family members and friends who we knew and loved, the people we made memories with, and the people we learned important lessons from. Also, there are the deeper ancestors whom we may know only from old photos, family stories, or just names on a family tree. We may also remember people from the history of our city, our church, and our country. If we've learned anything over the last several years, it's that history is a messy business. It's filled with human beings behaving in all the ways that we do. And this is the problem with people in history. They're people. They're not saints, and even saints were human and probably had their not-so-saintly moments. Even though we have a bright, shiny mythology of our nation where noble women and men work to bring forth a new democracy and prosperous country on this continent, there's the reality that many of them did some things that weren't so noble, like genocide and slavery. History is a messy thing, and family trees can be just as messy. We might have ancestors who used child labor in their factories, polluted the environment, or caused an extinction on a hunting trip. Imagine digging into your own genealogy and finding that person who roasted up that last dodo bird. Here in the greater New Bedford area, it might be a whaling ancestor who almost brought a species to an end. Though famous villains and monsters like Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, possessed dolls, and ghost girls who live in wells are all having their moment on the big screen and small, some of us had relatives and ancestors that could be even more frightening, and who weren't very likable, or who treated their families, neighbors, and communities poorly or abusively. Who needs zombies and werewolves when we have bigoted great aunts, homophobic parents, that uncle who always made Thanksgiving dinner cringy? Clan matriarchs and patriarchs, forebears and founding fathers whose beliefs and behavior we find pretty abhorrent today. There are people we might wish that we could forget. These are the troublesome ancestors. And what do we do with their memories during this time? I've been thinking a lot about troublesome ancestors ever since I had one of those genetic tests done a few years ago to learn more about where I came from. Though much of what I inherited comes from Europe, I am also connected by blood to people from West and North Africa and to the native people from the Caribbean coast of South America. I am definitely a child of colonialism and migration. Since I got those results, I've been thinking about those people in my family's deeper past whose lives are entwined in my DNA. I may never learn the names of these people who came together in some of the oldest branches of my family tree, but I still think of them and what their lives were like. On my mother's side, I wonder, who were my Carib or Arawak ancestors? Who were my ancestors from West Africa? Who were the conquistadors who connected and mixed with these two groups of people by enslaving and exploiting them? Those colonizers are some of my troublesome ancestors. I also have some more recent members of the Troublesome Ancestors Club that I knew personally while growing up, who didn't treat me kindly as a child, and who I won't ever like. Some of you may also have people like that in your pasts. So what do we do about these troublesome ancestors? John Beckett, a pagan, Druid, and Unitarian Universalist from Texas, wrote in a blog post from this time last year that there is a tendency for selective amnesia around the dead. Certainly, when loved ones are grieving, is no time to list all the bad things someone did, but once the funeral is over and the mourning period has passed, our obligation to the truth outweighs any obligation to the legacy of the deceased. This is particularly true of the long dead, where misdeeds and evil deeds are often excused with, "Those were different times." Much of the impulse behind excusing toxic behaviors in previous eras is less about how things were then and more about how we like to see ourselves today as more enlightened, more ethical, and more just. Beckett advises in another blog post, "Whatever your ancestors did to make themselves troublesome, work to undo it in this world." And I think here at First Unitarian, we definitely do see ourselves as more enlightened, ethical, and just. But I think we can recognize past wrongs for what they are and not excuse them. And I think our shared values and covenant prepare us to do the work that needs to be done to heal the wrongs our ancestors perpetrated in the past and work toward reconciliation and understanding in our community and for ourselves. Our mission of anti-racism, our support for the LGBTQ community, our work with the city to assist refugees who have found a safe haven in New Bedford, and our alliances with other faith communities and affinity groups brings us closer to the social justice we envision for the world. Beckett continues, "Many times we find that people did bad things out of fear. How can those fears be addressed? They did bad things out of hatred. How can that hatred be healed? Or they did bad things out of ignorance. How can we demonstrate a better way? Understanding doesn't mean excusing. Doing something horrible out of fear is still doing something horrible. If someone causes harm, they still need to make it right. But when we understand why something happened, we're better equipped to figure out what to do to make it better and how not to do it again in the future. For people who are long dead, it's up to us, the living, to understand and make things right. These days, there are too many people who are afraid of even knowing. I think we've all seen people trying to rewrite curricula and ban books in libraries and all that, let alone understand what our troublesome ancestors did. I think we are a nation in dire need of understanding, reconciliation, and just doing better so that we can progress. And I think we're pretty well equipped here for that. Beckett writes, "Break the chain. Make amends on our ancestors' behalf. Work for restoration across many generations of the living and the dead. Set a good example for your descendants, both in how you live and in how you interact with your ancestors. Because sooner or later, all of us will join the ancestors." And I think I'd rather be remembered for causing some good trouble rather than being troublesome. So, thank you. Lost my place there for a moment. I thought we had one more part to go. We are a people of memory. As inheritors of our ancestors' legacy, we hold their stories tenderly, gleaning wisdom from diverse journeys, united in hope for the future. As we extinguish our chalice, let us go forth into the world with healing and love and make the world better for the generations to come. please join us in the parish house for coffee hour. Thank you, Randy.